Let's hustle right into the Saturday slate. And we have three games: Indianapolis, Minnesota, Cleveland, Baltimore, and Miami, Buffalo. So let's go through each position. Just kind of talk about somebody we're eyeing value wise. Who do you like at quarterback?
Yeah, so I mean, I told you that this Bills game could see a ton of snow. It looks like the forecast is holding true, and they're not relocating, at least yet. So I think, Josh Allen, if you want to spend up and be contrarian, he still might be in play. Like, he can lean on his rushing ability. He can still have a big game even in the snow. So he's viable at 8.3K. And I think my main cheap play, I should say, would be Matt Ryan at 5,200 against the Vikings. Now, obviously, he's stunk all year, basically. But when he does have a clean pocket, he's a lot better. When facing pressure this season, he ranks 33rd out of 36 qualified QBs. But in a clean pocket, he ranks 12th out of 36. And the Vikings, they've struggled to generate pressure this year. I think they're 25th in terms of generating pressure. But the last four games, they've been bottom three. So Ryan could have a clean pocket. And on, a three-game slate like this at 5,200, you can really save up and take a lot of these other studs that I like on the slate. So I think Ryan is the best bang for your buck. Maybe not in cash, but certainly GPP stacked up with Michael Pittman.
A couple things. This snow in Buffalo. Yeah. So it's interesting because I was talking to Stuckey and he was saying how there's always the possibility of a snover, which is when, it snows, but it's not like that terrible snow that's gonna just kill everything, but we won't know if it's a snow till like maybe an hour before. So yeah, we definitely need to kind of watch this forecast because it's been kind of switching around, but it looks like we should get some snow regardless in Buffalo, some bad weather for that game, so something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think in any capacity Josh Allen's gonna be hard to cover, whether the passing game or I said, if he scrambles in the snow, he could have an edge there. I think Tua, especially considering just their team total is so low, that's why I didn't say him. But yeah, I kind of agree with that. Kind of investing in this game still, if there's snow, I think makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, well, the Dolphins team total as well, because didn't you mention it? They had like the heating lamps on in LA last weekend. Like it was like,
wow. Well, it is. I mean, I think it's cold here. Other people are gonna laugh.
Hey,
high 50s.
As a native New Yorker, it's that come on, like if the Dolphins are in trouble if they were cold,
right?
Because so yeah, that's why their team total as well. I think Buffalo will be all right. Yeah, I like Kirk Cousins in this on the slate. Just value dollar for dollar. He's 6K on DraftKings, 7,500 on FanDuel. He's my QB 8 this week, so he kind of clocks in as the top value for me, mid-range guy. But whether it's been a positive or negative game script, he's been throwing a ton of passes because his yards per completion is down. So he'll get his 270 yards, sometimes a lot more than that, but he usually takes like 25, 28 completions, and a lot of good things can happen. And I do think the Colts will challenge the Vikings in this spot. So I do think, I don't think the Vikings will be able to just sit on the ball, but they don't really do that anyway. Like, they're not running as much. Alexander Madison's going to waste pretty much. I mean, he gets like 3-4 touches a game now because they're pretty pass heavy team. So I think Cousins has a high floor, but also a high ceiling, as we saw last week. He threw for over 400 against the Lions.
Yep.
Yeah, like Cousins this week. Let's jump to running back. What do you like?
So Jonathan Taylor at 7,200 is just a smash play. I thought I was high on him. He's my RB3 this week. I believe you had an RB1, but it's just a great spot for him. And even if they do get down, I agree. I'm probably going to be on the Colts plus 4.5 as well. I think they'll keep it close. But even if they trail, he's been averaging a 75% routes run rate the past 4 games. He seems like a lock for 2-3 catches at least here. So he just has a massive floor ceiling combo. I'll probably use him in my non-Matt Ryan, Michael Pittman stacks. I wouldn't stack him with Matt Ryan. So he seems like the clear top play, at least on this slate. A little bit further down, I think Raheem Mostert at 5,300. He has basically taken over as the lead back for the Dolphins right now. We'll see if that sticks. I kind of said that this could be just, something that flips every given week. So right now, Mostert is the lead back. And, in a snow game, he could have some success. The Dolphins probably have to lean on the run a bit more. He's also, one cut runner, really good, home run threat. So in a snow game, he could have, even more upside, just based on the conditions, based on his running style. So at 5,300, he makes sense. And he has, he hasn't been seeing many targets, but he typically does lead the backfield in routes run as well. So if this does turn into a trailing game script, he could actually end up, racking up a few catches as well. But I just like his ceiling, at least at this price point, on a 3-game slate.
Yeah, he, looks like Wilson's going to miss, so he would be in line for feature duties. They really don't like to mix in other guys outside of those two. But for like a super dart throw, if Wilson is out, they'll probably have Myles Gaskin active. When he's been active, he's only been active a few games, but he's tended to play over Savon Ahmed when he's active.
Yeah.
So that is something to watch, if you're maybe doing a showdown slate, if you're just going for like a home run dart throw, maybe some garbage time in this game or something. But Gaskin tends to play over Ahmed and play on some passing downs if he is active. So that's something to note. Yeah, love Taylor. That's my top play, probably all across all positions. I just think he's amazing value, especially on DraftKings at 7,200, 20 plus carries and 2+ catches in all 4 games since Jeff Saturday took over. I also like James Cook. Didn't live up to the hype last week. Usage went back down to a little closer to his season-long levels, but in the past game, he's still seeing elevated usage. He's seen a season high 15 and 13 routes over the last 2 weeks, and he has a 40% route participation rate, which is, pretty much double his season average. So even though the carries weren't there last week, he's still seeing work in the passing game, and they could lean on some short passes. If it is snowing, they might not be able to throw it down the field. I mean, Josh Allen has an arm, so he probably still could do whatever he wants, but they like cooking the pass game. I think this Dolphin defense is going to have some trouble defending him out of the backfield. So like Cook, I just think the value is really good. 5,300 on FanDuel especially, but also 4,800 on DraftKings where you get that full point per reception.
Yeah, no, I love that call. Actually, I haven't projected for 0.1 more points than Singletary even, and he's about $1,000 cheaper. He's also, he's priced way too cheap. He's cheaper than Alexander Madison, Deion Jackson. Come on. So yeah, I do like him on this slate.
Yeah, I mean, whichever guy I rank higher, the other guy will go off. So I'm just gonna.
Oh, don't say that. No, your fancy pros rank this season says otherwise.
No, but I'm saying there's certain guys, you just like,
yeah.
it's like Akers and Kyron for you, I guess. It's just like,
oh my God, more on that later.
Yeah. All right, let's go to wide receiver. Who do you like?
Yeah, so I already mentioned, I like a Matt Ryan, Michael Pittman stack against the Vikings. Pittman's only 5,800, and he's definitely going to bounce back after his 2-catch, 16-yard game against Dallas before the bye. I mentioned, Matt Ryan should have a clean pocket more often, at least, in this matchup. And Pittman's target share goes from 21% when their QB's pressured up to 24.3% with a clean pocket. So this is a great matchup for him. I mean, this Vikings secondary has been really rough lately. They left Jamison Williams wide open for that touchdown. So this is just a great bounce back spot for Pittman. He's way too cheap on this 3-game slate. And then a little bit down the radar, like David Bell at 3,100. I love this play. He has a great dart throw on a 3-game slate. Deshaun Watson certainly raises his ceiling, but his ceiling isn't that high, but it's high enough on a 3-game slate where if he were to get, 4 to 5 catch game, even without a touchdown, that might be enough. But last week, he had a season high 78% routes run rate. He lines up in the slot. So against the Ravens, he's going to avoid Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey. And, the Ravens have allowed a league worst 74% catch rate to slot wide receivers. So this could be, a sneaky eruption spot, so to speak, for David Bell. Again, we're not asking for much. He's only 3,100. So like a 4-catch game could be enough to win this slate.
Ooh, that's a call right there. Sneaky eruption spot for
Does he even have a 4-catch game this year? That would be an eruption.
I want to say his season high is like 2, but let's see. Let me check right now.
He's gotten 3. Oh no, he has week 11 and 12. He had 4-catch games.
Oh yeah, right before when the Bucks game, I think it was.
Yeah, Bills and Bucks.
Every time I Google David Bell, the baseball player David Bell comes up.
Oh, old school.
Yeah.
Nice.
Took me a second there. But yeah, I love Pittman. And on this slate, because you only have 3 games, I actually don't mind stacking Matt Ryan, Jonathan Taylor, and Michael Pittman, because let's say the Colts just have a really good game against that Viking defense. Those 3 guys are going to are all probably going to exceed value. Like, there's a very good chance that, they're cheap enough that, so I don't mind it on the 3-game slate. And, the Colts, when Michael Pittman gets, 50 plus yards, which the Vikings are allowing 87 schedule adjusted yards to number 1 wide receivers, the Colts are 4-1, and 2 of those losses are by a point. So they tend to keep it close and kind of do well in those spots. So little kind of betting nugget, but also kind of game script thing there, where I don't mind the Ryan Taylor Pittman stack, because Taylor could always get a receiving touchdown. He's gonna get 3 balls at least. So,
and with that stack, you would just hope one of the 8 tight ends don't get a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you can even go. It's a 3-game slate. You could get away with 4 if if let's say the Colts do what most teams have done to the Vikings and put up like 450 yards of offense.
Right.
You might need 4 Colts, especially if this Buffalo game plays out
exactly
how you think it is with the snow. So you might need 4 guys on the Colts and then 1 from every other game or something like that. So
yep,
1 from every.
Yeah, that could definitely work.
Yep. I also like Isaiah McKenzie in this spot. So among those, wide receivers, right above the true dart minimum price dart throws in like that, high 3, low 4K range on DraftKings and the mid 5s on FanDuel. I think McKenzie's the best value. Miami plays a ton of man coverage, and McKenzie is second on the Bills with 19 targets against man coverage. And he's more of an underneath guy, kind of a gadget guy. So they, the snow shouldn't affect him as much as somebody like Gabe Davis. Or even Stephon Diggs for that matter. So I think this could be a McKenzie game. And I do think he shows more value than guys like KJ Osborne and guys like that. Alec Pierce is the other one, shows pretty good value at 3,900, but McKenzie a little more for me.
Is Cole Beasley going to play this week?
He has a chance to. I'm guessing if he does, they'd probably elevate him over John Brown this week. But either way, it's probably not going to amount to more than a handful of snaps. So I mean,
yeah, maybe like down the road he could eat into McKenzie's usage, but probably not this week.
Yeah, I mean, McKenzie's been playing pretty decently lately. Like, I thought he was going kind of trending downward, and I thought Khalil Shakir was going to eat into his snaps. McKenzie's actually been taking some of Shakir's snaps. So. I don't know, but I mean, if Beasley's active, I think that's definitely a dart throw, because he's not like a normal, like, let's say T.Y. Hilton in Dallas, who has to learn the playbook. Like, Beasley's gonna know what it is, and we've seen Beasley get 10 catch games from Josh Allen. So if they want to put him on the field, he could do some work, but I don't know if this is the game for it. We'll see. All right, tight end. Who do you like?
So I'm just not messing around at tight end. I think this is the position we definitely want to spend up at. TJ Hawkinson, probably too cheap at 5K. He's my tight end 2 right now. Second straight game with a 90% plus routes run rate. Caught 6 balls for 77 yards. Had a pretty brutal drop, so he could have had an even bigger game. But he's established himself as a high floor, high ceiling option in their offense. And I actually have him 2.5 points higher than Mark Andrews, who has really been struggling since week 6. It's actually pretty crazy. So he's $700 more expensive. So love Hawkinson here. And then if you don't want to take Hawkinson, you could take David Njoku at 4,200. Last week he saw a 90% routes run rate, which is elite. And he cashed in with the 7-catch, 59-yard game on a touchdown. So having Deshaun Watson potentially playing at a higher level even this week is only going to raise Njoku's ceiling even more. So I'm not screwing around at tight end. I think you got to spend up and take one of these 2 guys.
Yeah, love Hawkinson. He stands out as a value to me. Indianapolis 28th in DVOA against tight ends. But something that you gotta probably switch it up a little in tournaments. So one guy I would take some shots at is Jelani Woods, 4,500 on FanDuel, 2,700 on DraftKings. 18% of his receptions have gone for touchdowns. Rookie coming off the bye. You know, we've already seen him I think it was a multi-touchdown game. We've already seen him with a big volume game. I think he had like, what was it, 90 or so yards against Pittsburgh. Let me see exactly how many he had. He had
98.
8 for 98 on 9 targets against Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago. And he had that multi-touchdown game in week 3 against the Chiefs. So, you know, he's shown us kind of the requisite upside to score fantasy points in a lot of different ways. And, you know, coming off the bye, rookie, you know, could see a bump up in playing time, maybe similar to that Pittsburgh game, because I think he was on an injury report the game after that. And so his snaps kind of bumped back down, but could see it jump back up. They're using Moawi Cox less and less.